Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23, good chapter, some good stuff in there. And so let's just jump right in, okay? All right, everybody good?
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to do 23 like we always do, which is, those verses that, they kind of are together. We'll group them together and go through them like that, all right? So verses 1 and 2, are the introduction to this particular chapter. And here's what it says. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. Okay? Now, what does that suggest? That's saying, hey, listen, and truly it's saying when you sit with a ruler, or someone is saying someone that's over you, right? Someone has a greater stature than you have. It's saying that if you find yourself with them, act like you got some sense. That's really what it's saying, right? Act like, remember your home training. So when it says put a knife to your throat, it's saying that's the seriousness of what that is. Because sometimes when you're sitting with folk, you tend to forget that you're supposed to be representing somebody when you're doing that. All right? So it's saying that, what you need to be doing is be cognizant of the fact that you represent someone. And you represent those who brought you up. And so if you act like a fool, that means those who brought you up must have been foolish. Right? So it's saying, recognize that about yourself. Now, I would suggest to you, too, that we can apply to just generally how we do business, okay? And so, for example, let's say someone invites you out to dinner, all right? Let's say someone invites you out to dinner. Now, the common sense thing for some folk to do is to say, it ain't my money, so therefore, let me get the most expensive thing on the menu plus dessert, okay? But what this suggests is this: if someone is kind enough to invite you out to dinner, don't get the lobster. Get something reasonable and keep the price down low. Okay? Keep the price down low. Let me say this to the ladies right quick. Okay? To all the ladies right quick. If you want to impress a man, never order the most expensive thing on the menu. As a matter of fact, tell him to order for you. So that's the problem y'all got right there. So that's why I say what? If you want to what? Impress the man. And granted, all y'all don't. That's why y'all one big material. Right? I say what? If you want to impress the man, you say, hey, go ahead and order for me. Right? Now, here's why you do that. Because if the man, see, I'm trying to help you out now. All right? If the man values you, he will order the most expensive thing on the menu. If he doesn't, he's told you something about himself. Now you know. But if you order the most important thing on the menu, you ain't got a clue how he felt about it. So therefore, you won't know where his head is at.
Y'all get that?
It ain't worth $3, okay, you order the lobster rather than something below that, but you can just, and it tells them about him, right? Now you got it, okay? So Proverbs is always practical, but it only makes sense if what? You apply. Yes?
What happens if you don't like what he orders for you?
Huh? Well, you tell him what you like in the conversation. You may say something like this, right?
Oh, the Parmesan looks great tonight.
Or what? Or I like Italian food. Or you might say what? I'm allergic to this. Or, what have you.
Right? I don't eat veal.
Right. Or I'm a vegetarian. Whatever. I'm just saying, but if you just jump in there and you're looking down the menu, and y'all grouping things out, and you look like women do at times, or the most expensive thing, knowing you ain't eating all of it, then you're going to go bag so you can take it home with you, then you order dessert too.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to help. You don't have to be helped.
Now here's the best thing to say.
What?
Is, wow, everything on the menu looks so good. Why don't you order for me?
And that's what he said.
I was just putting it from saying
I
it
appreciate
from
it.
the way a woman would say it.
No, I appreciate it, Liz. But Liz, I appreciate it. But let me tell you something. Here's the thing. if you want to know how men think, stop listening to women. No, you missed my point. I as a man just told you how men think, and now you're telling me say it the way a woman think. You can, but that don't impress the man.
What? Did everything on the menu look so good? Could you please order for me?
Huh? Okay, let's try it a different way. I'm trying to help you, but you gotta be listening to me to be helped. I take you to the finest restaurant and you tell me what I think is obvious.
What?
I'll say it again, slowly. I took you to the finest restaurant, which says I already think everything on the menu is good.
Gotcha.
You want her to translate? Okay. Verse 3, 6, and 8. I'm sorry, verse 3, 6, 7, 8, and 8. Verse 3, 6, 7, and 8 go together, all right? So, be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. 6 through 8 says, eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. The morsel which thou hast eaten shall thou vomit up, and lose thy sweet words. Okay? Now here's what this is saying. Simply put is this. There is no free ride. There is no free ride. No one gives you something for nothing. And the point he's making is this. If you allow someone to do something for you, they're expecting something back in return. Because you ain't that cute. Okay? That's really what this is pointing out to you, okay? And so that's why he said what? It is deceitful. So be not desirous of it because it's deceitful. And see, the thing is this, is that people, and I'm not saying just you ladies, I'm saying people, okay? People need to understand that there is no free ride, okay? And see, and the problem is that we have brought up a generation that have a feeling of entitlement, you know? And that's unfortunate because no one should feel entitled to anything, okay? And that creates problems in the way we deal with folk and the way folk deal with us, all right? And that's what allows people to end up getting hurt. Because if I do so much, I'm expecting something back. Okay? I mean, I don't care whether it's male or female. If a man spending, that's why again, the reason why I try to help y'all out a whole lot it's because I love you, and you all tend to come to me more than the men do for counseling. I'm trying to cut my counseling, low down. Here's the thing. See, a man ain't gonna buy but so many dinners.
Amen.
Who
said that?
Who said it? He ain't gonna buy so many dinners without expecting something in return. And it's just the way, I don't care how sanctified people are, that's just the way life is. Okay? So therefore, you have to be cognizant of that, right? And I'm saying this because the singles ask me sometimes, say, can you do a seminar? And I do a seminar, and I tell them this all the time, but they don't follow, not all of them, but most of them don't follow it. How do I know? Because then they come back crying later on, all right? Here's the deal. If a man invites you out on a date, first time, he see you, you see him, y'all looking at each other's eyes, meeting everything, he look good, you look good. He say, hey, look here. I saw you sitting on the second row when I was in the choir stand. You was on the second row, you were shouting a little bit. I know you love the Lord, I love the Lord, praise the Lord, let's go out to dinner. When y'all get there, you order whatever you want to order. When the check comes, say, listen, I ordered this, therefore I'll pay for my half, you pay for your half. Here's my $2 for the tip, he gives $2 for the tip. Walk away like that. Okay? Now, even though he invites you, I know what you're thinking, but he invited me. At least you better offer to pay. Okay? Because if he invited you, let me tell you something. I tell you, like we had staff meeting, but you told me I can't talk about staff meeting no more. You know, right now. But you won't authorize me to say this. Okay, I gotta get off. Like I mentioned in the staff meeting, I said, let me tell you something about people. There ain't a man that ever born that wasn't born a eunuch. Okay, the Bible talks about that too. There's not a man born that wasn't born a eunuch. If he's taken to dinner, his mind is on something else. He's never taking you out because his mind is on eating. Okay? You can take them to the bank. All right? Because if he wants to just eat something, he'll invite me out. Or he'll invite him out. If nobody wants to leave their head, what you doing? Right? Let's go to Hooters to get some wings. See, that's when they're hungry. If he invites you out, he ain't thinking about eating. Amen. It's just that simple, okay? So then if you go out with him, and he's been $75 because you going to the lobster. And the first time he might say he ain't saying nothing. But then what he thinking? Yeah, I done paid for 30 minutes. So if I ask her a second time and she said yeah. I'm just telling you, what kind of class is this? But if you go out and you say, listen, no, they're looking for mine, or the next time you say, listen, I got it. So that changes the whole dynamic now. See, now you can stay Christian. Amen. Stay saved, sanctified. Yeah.
So, because I do participate in our workshops, I already was doing that, but I definitely utilized it the last time I went out. And so we got to the door. I paid for my food. I planned for it, but we got to the door, and I stood there and waited.
For him to open the door?
Right. So he was like, look, for a minute, and I was like, we ain't going away.
You want to say it again?
I said, we ain't going away. Because he was like looking at me, and he was like, so his reply back to me was, you want to be independent to pay for your food, but you can't open the door.
And you believe that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I said, well, I'm going to tell you like this. I can't be, my independence is going to support us if that was where we were supposed to go.
Right.
But I'm still a female, and I still want to be treated as a female. So, open the door.
No,
he didn't open that door.
But here's my point to you. Now, ladies, this ain't got nothing to do with the lesson, okay? This ain't nothing to do with the lesson. But I'm going to give you this little bit just because I'm old enough to be your father.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to help you out. This is a fatherly tip here, all right? It's simple. If I got to tell you to be a man, I don't need you. They wrote a song about it. Amen. They said, well, you can't train them. You can't train a boy. If his mama didn't do it, it won't get done. Right? So don't even try to train. You don't try to train people. Okay? It's just simple as that. Every man knows what it means when a lady slows down. It means open the door. And if he don't know, it's because his mama ain't trained him well. And you can't train him. It's too late. She already spoiled him. She already made him feel entitled.
Go ahead, Daddy.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to help. All right. But by the same token, what does it say for the guy? See, it tells the guy the same thing. What? You know what I mean? Is that, listen, you ought to accept certain things as well, right? That is a 50-50 thing, right? So you don't go over there and expect her to cook dinner for you all the time. Because she's going to be expecting something too. Not what you're expecting, but she's going to be expecting something. She's going to make the phone be right. Then she wants the Verizon bill paid. Okay. All this kind of stuff. Okay. So basically what he's saying is simple. That what? There is no free ride. Because if a person, they're using that to get something back from you. So in other words, don't fall into that trap. Okay? It's just that straightforward stuff. All right? Then we got verses 4 and 5. verses 4 and 5 come together, and here's what they say. Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven. And so he's saying simple. Listen, Solomon says that what? Most of us spend our whole lives trying to acquire stuff. You know, that's what we focus on, trying to acquire stuff. In fact, we place value on people the more they have financially, okay? But what he's saying is that, listen, everything you got, if you look at it, he says, well, it will fly away as an eagle toward heaven. And what he's basically saying is this, is that money, the two things it does not do. And we say this all the time, but we act like it's a lie. We know that money does not make one happy. We know that, but yet we spend our whole lives trying to get more of it. And whether you got enough or not, you can have enough to pay your bills and you still work hard to get more money. You know, a whole lot of you all got all the money you need to pay your bills and you still playing the lottery. Because you're still trying to get 25 million. And what you got is fine. You know, you got a closet full of clothes and don't know what to do with them. But still buying more. Still trying to win some more money that you don't need, right? Yeah, yes.
Excuse me, Minister, it's 264 million this year. And I'm sure if any of us won that, the church would be the beneficiary.
You don't know these people like I know them. As a matter of, you all heard what she said. She said she's sure if one of you all won, how much is it?
264.
Okay, I'm not aware of that, but okay. I know it's lower than that, but you said 264, I don't keep track of it, okay?
I know.
Now, I'm not telling you not to play. That's your option. All I'm saying is that money won't change how happy you are.
That's right.
Okay? A lonely poor person is just as unhappy as a lonely rich person, right? And we know this because we know that rich folk commit suicide at a faster rate than poor people do. So that, yes. Rarely do you find a homeless guy jumping out in front of a truck. Go. That don't happen. They don't climb to the top of the Empire State Building and dive off. See, that don't happen, right? They don't overdose on drugs. They might accidentally, but not on purpose. Okay? But rich folk do it all the time. Okay? Very few poor people sitting up in the psychiatrist's office. Even though they can go for free. But folk with money do it all the time. Okay? We know that money don't make you happy. We know that from people that we see on TV, all the other, we just know that. But we still strive to get it, as if it's going to make you happy. So what he's saying is, what you need to strive for is quality of life. That's what this is saying. It's quality of life you should be trying to strive for, and not just your quality, but the quality of people you come into contact with, because that's what's going to make a difference. I'd be willing to bet you right now that the people that you remember the most are the people that improve the quality of your life. Not the people who had a lot of money. Because a lot of people that had a lot of money, you may have admired them, but you don't even see them and they did nothing to change your status. So the people that really keep an imprint on you are the people that change the quality of your life. Now if you win, granted, if you do tithe, figure you get 264 million. If you do win gross, right, that means you get what? 10% to the church?
No, actually, you'll get, after the tax.
What did I just say? What did I say? What did I say, Liz?
10%.
Of what?
Of 264 million.
Bingo, gross. Don't be talking about after no taxes. No. you pay Jesus. You pay the Lord first and then pay your taxes.
That's right.
Because He's the one that let you win. All right?
Right.
There you go. Now, you may do this, but I'm gonna just say this right here right quick, all right? Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it, all right? I want y'all to repeat it. Somebody in this church won the lottery, and their offering envelope did not tell me who it was.
Wow.
Now, they didn't win 264 million, but they want a nice chunk of change.
Wow.
I just and don't be asking folk on Sunday, who was it, y'all?
It's okay.
Folk ain't looking at this. Everybody don't watch this thing.
I watch you every day off of YouTube.
I know you do, because you saved, sanctified, got the Holy Ghost. And if you won the lottery, you would. I know, but see, if you won the lottery, you would do it.
I would.
The person that won the lottery ain't here right now. They still spending lottery money. They ain't watching that. They still on vacation. Well, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know where they are, but you know.
Where'd they go?
Huh? I don't know. But I know what verse 9 says. It says what I keep doing. Okay. Now listen. I ain't talking about you. That was a joke. I wasn't talking about you all. I was talking about them people that live across the street from me. That's what I was talking about. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Right? That's just straightforward stuff, right? That just says what? Some of y'all just wasting your breath. Right? It's saying what? Because all they're gonna do is get mad at you. Because they don't want to hear it. You know why people don't want to hear it? Because people don't want to hear the truth. People don't like the truth about themselves. They like their own version of the truth about themselves. All right? Okay. Verse 10 and 11 go together. Remove not the old landmark and enter not into the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee. Okay? So that just says, the old landmark is what? A boundary that shows what they are entitled to. Okay? And so what this is saying is don't try to swindle people because you have more knowledge than they have. Because God looks after them. You ever heard people say this old thing that God look after babies and fools? But this is similar to what this is trying to say. That the Lord looks after those who he knows need his help. Okay? So don't you try to swindle them. All right? 12 is a standalone verse. Okay? It's a standalone verse that we all should take heed in. All right? And all it says simply is that when you come to church on Sunday and I preach a sermon, walk out of here and do what I said. When you leave here on Wednesday night, stop saying that you've grown and you know just as much as I know. Walk out of here and do what I said. Why?
Because you went to school.
Right, yeah, true that. But because I'm giving you what's what? In the Word. All right? It says, apply thine heart unto instruction and thine ears unto the words of knowledge. So it says apply thy heart, saying what? That what's in your heart is what you will do. Right? It's not just enough to get the information, but you need to get the information and then act on the information. Okay? And for most people that you find that have lives that are joyful and that they're enjoying Christianity, it's because they're acting on Christianity. They're not just churchgoers. And you think about how many people you come into contact with, that come to church, but it's evident that they are not happy as Christians. They just come to church. Huh? Always. But that's because why? Because if you're not acting on it, you don't get the benefit of the instruction that you get. Okay? That makes sense to you? None of the confirmation? Either that or somebody end up playing with the breaker switch. Okay? All right. We good?
Yeah.
All right. Lincoln.
Out there too.
Okay. Yeah. So must be out to the main thing then.
Wanted to check, make sure.
Yeah. Okay. 13 and 14. Y'all got real quiet, like y'all scared Lord gonna strike y'all dead or something. It's gonna be all right. Okay. You're in the house with the Lord. It's all right. 13 and 14. 13 and 14. We went through this before in the previous chapter, but you know, sometimes the Lord is saying what? We need it twice. All right? Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell.
Yep.
Okay? All right. And that's, you know, I ain't got to say much more about that, right? You know, whoop them jokers. All right? That's why so many of them feel entitled. Because they're not getting knocked out. But you need to knock them out. You know what? Sometimes you need to whoop your kid just because they need to be, just to whoop them. Just come home and they look at, hey, come here. I know you're doing something wrong. Come here. You know, get them anxious, right? That way they'll start doing something before you ask them to do it. Everything, you know, this fool might go be anybody. I'm going to wash these dishes right quick. Okay? All right. 15, 16, 24, and 25. I'm scared to get in. I'm scared to do 26 through 28. Because my mother's sitting right here. No, well, see, it's about whorish women. That's why I didn't want, because she's an expert in talking about whorish women. That's where I got it from. Okay. Right now we're going to stay with 15, 16, 24, and 25. So 15, 16, 24, and 25. My son, if thine heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine. Yes, my lips shall rejoice when thy lips speak right things. 24 and 25 says, the father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begetteth a wise child shall have joy in him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that beareth thee shall rejoice. So this is speaking to children, right? It isn't necessarily, it's not speaking to little children, it's speaking to grown children. And it's saying to grown children, hey, listen, one of the things you need to strive for is to show your parents that you have understood their instruction and that you're willing to follow their instruction. Because what Solomon is alluding to is that your parents are wise, right? By virtue of their years, they are wise. Now, he's not saying that your parents did everything right. What he's saying is that your parents, when they teach you based on their experiences, so you won't repeat the mistakes that they made.
That's right.
Right? And so when they see you acting in that regard, you make them proud of you, and it gives them an easier time down the road. Because then they don't have to worry about you anymore. They can take joy in their children because they know you're making wise decisions. Okay? All right. 17 and 18 says, let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long. For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Okay? And so, you know, and that's one of the things that oftentimes is difficult to deal with. And that is when folk are treating you wrong, sometimes it's difficult to do nothing. And just say, you know what, I'm going to let it go. And I'm going to do nothing because something inside of us says, I got to get back at you.
Yes.
Amen. I got to get some revenge. I can't let you just keep walking over top of me. Okay? And so Solomon says, don't worry about sinners, because God going to take care of them in the end. You know, it might seem like they're going to prosper, but God is going to take care of them. So don't you worry about trying to be, don't emulate them. Don't be like them. You know, he got them covered. And the other thing is I have come to appreciate is this, is that what you don't always know is you don't know how that person is dealing with what they have anyway. You know, our assumption is that they're having a good time, but that don't mean they're having a good time. You know, just because they are partying with a smile on their face, sometimes people do stuff to hide pain. You know. 19 through 23, and 26 through 28 also are linked together. Okay? It says, "Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thine heart in the way. Be not among winebibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. Hearken unto thy father that beget thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old. Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom and instruction and understanding." All right? And 26 through 28 says, "My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. For a whore is a deep dish. A whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lieth in wait as for a prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men." So Solomon is giving advice to his son. He says 2 things I want you to be weary of, because these 2 things will definitely bring you down. And he's basically saying be careful the company that you keep, right? Be careful the company that you keep. And when he talks about the first group of company, he says, hey, listen, don't hang around with folk that are that have addictions. Don't hang around folk that have addictions, okay? Don't hang around folk that like to fight all the time. He said, because eventually it's going to come back to bite you, all right? And that's straightforward. I mean, there's no mystery to that. You know, we know that if you hang around folk long enough, it's going to rub off on you, right? And we always say things like this: birds of a feather flock together, right? Except for parents. Parents say the opposite. You know what the parents always say? My child was hanging around with that. It's the bad crowd they were hanging around with that got him in trouble. No, it wasn't the bad crowd they were hanging around with. They part of the bad crowd. Right? But again, this says something to us, because really when you think about it, I mean, even though they talk about, you know, in Solomon's time, the big deal was what? Drunkards, okay? And crazy women. So he says what? Be careful people you hang around with. Now, I'm going to talk about the first part first. I'll talk about the whores a little later on, okay? All right, now. Because it works both ways. I don't want y'all to think I'm just going to, you know, he's talking to a man, but it applies to everybody. Let's just talk about the men tonight. Ladies, let's just talk about the men tonight. That down already? So it says to the men that what? Listen, that the company you keep will destroy you, right? Now, and we know that to be true. The company you keep will destroy you. The problem with, you know, I was going to keep it on men, but ladies, you know what? I need to help y'all just a little bit. Talk about men too, is a little bit, okay? Because they say if the shoe fits, you got to wear it, right? And the thing is this. If you know that the wino is a problem, and you know the wino is a problem, if you ever had wino, you know, if you ever had alcoholics in your life, you know you're sick of them after a while. You know, you go to the club with them, and they're sober, but by the time they get to the club, they're drunk, because they start drinking before they get there, right? Because they don't want to pay $7-8 for the drink, so they're drinking before they get there. And they drunk when they get there. So y'all go in the club and you say, well, it's going to be all right, we'll get in, be all right, but when you get in there like a complete fool, then you got to put up with them. Then you put them in the car and you're driving home. They're throwing up all in the backseat, all this kind of stuff. Then you mad, man, but you can't put them out. Why? Because it's your kinfolk, okay? But the thing that it is this, is that even though we're sick of them, we go right back and pick them up again on Friday. Right? And so what Solomon is saying is this, why do we keep surrounding ourselves with people that we know don't add to our life? You know, why do we presume that if you don't add to my life, I need to keep you in my life just because we were friends? Or just because we are family? You know? And I'm saying this because family, that's why I say it's going to be what? Gender neutral. Right? This applies to women and men. Family oftentimes are the ones that will do the most harm to you, but will put you on the biggest guilt trip if you don't let them keep on hurting you. Right? But what we need to understand is what he says. He did not indicate whether or not if they were family, you let them stay close to you. He just is put an idea of what the person is. If they're harmful to you, it's time to segregate yourself from them and stop acting like that there is a reason to keep them close by you. It's not. Okay? Now, if you do keep them close by you, what you ought not do is call the church office and tell Sister Bowden, can I make an appointment to talk to the pastor? Right, it's a waste of everybody's time, right? Why? Because you ain't going to separate yourself from them anyway. So you can come in and tell me, Pastor, how should I handle this? And if I say, leave him alone. I can't leave him alone because that's my cousin. That's my sister. That's this person. Okay, then what? Stay there and go through hell then. Why? Because Solomon just said what? If they always bring you pain, you got to let them go. You just got to let them go. Right? And it doesn't matter whether they're male or female or whatever, you got to let them go. But then he speaks specifically to because he's saying to my son anyway, but it applies to everybody, right? But then he says something that he's specifically talking to men about. Specifically to men about. And he says to men, listen, why is it that you can't identify a hoe when you see one? Well, he said, what happened that you couldn't just recognize who she was? Right? And why are you now allowing her to corrupt everything you got? Okay? And note what he says about the woman, okay? He says what? For a whore is a deep ditch. But it's two different types of women. He says a whore is a deep ditch and a strange woman is a narrow pit. Right? So he says, we're talking about two different kinds of women here, right? So one, he said, the deep ditch, he said, is that you know who the whorish woman is, but that's the one you said you wanted because she was a whore. Right. You knew when you took her out on the first date. If you didn't go, you went to Pizza Hut. You ain't spent but $12 on her. And y'all went back home, and it was on like popcorn. Right? So he said that you knew right then, right? Oh, watch this right quick. Ladies, normally what? It's the what? 90-day rule, lady. Okay, when you're over 40, it's 30-day rule. The older you get, the less you take the off. But at least, as a minimum, right, this is a 30-day rule, right?
Yes.
If you sanctified, if you're real sanctified, right, Liz?
Yeah.
It's a 90-day rule.
No.
And then you get married.
We tried 90 days anyway.
But you told us last week that you did it and then got married, right?
Well, that was then.
Oh, so you changed the time frame.
Well, I'm saying, I'm sanctified at this point.
Okay, sanctified, all right. So she says she's sanctified now. So and listen, every guy knows that y'all got these rules. Yeah. They know you all got these rules. But you know what they're banking on? Y'all gonna break the rule. And what Solomon said, if you break the rule, guys, he's saying what? If she break the rule, you know she's a hoe. So if it's the first date, don't be taking her home to mama next week. Okay? Matter of fact, you know what he's saying? If it's the first date, it's going to be a deep ditch, brother. You're going to get in it and you ain't going to be able to get out. Because she's going to put something on you that you ain't going to be able to walk away from. So deep ditch. TV land. There's some deep ditches in TV land too. All right. But listen, it's in the Bible. It's right there. I ain't making it up. It's right there, right? But then he said there's also the strange woman, and he classifies the strange woman, and it's a narrow pit. All right. Now, because a strange woman, what he's classifying is that a woman, any woman that's not yours. Any woman that's not yours. So a strange woman, the defining thing between a strange woman and a whore is let's say if you are married, okay? Any woman you are not married to is considered a strange woman, okay? She even may have a 90-day rule, and she may stick to the 90-day rule. But if she's not the one you're married to, you still got, right? It's a strange woman. And so he's saying that, listen, if you get hooked up with a strange woman, she is a narrow pit. In other words, you still gonna fall. She may not beg, she may not trap you like the hoe did. Cause the hoe know her stuff. Right? Yeah. But whether or not, you still gonna mess around and be in trouble. Okay? So what Solomon is saying to guys, he's saying to you right now, it's right in here now. He's saying to the guys, listen, wise up, brothers. Why, if you're single, wise up. If you're single man, ladies, teach your sons this now. If you're single and you're going out, and I don't care how cute she look, if it didn't take you but one night, don't be thinking because you so debonair, suave and everything that you could do what other guys couldn't do. Okay? Now I'll take you a little bit of advice my oldest brother told me one time, a long time ago. He said, let me tell you something, son. Well, he didn't call me son, he called me Mike. He said, let me tell you something. If you can talk up on it, somebody else can talk up on it. Don't think you got a better gap than anybody else around there. So don't be thinking because you can talk up on it in one night, that you the only one can talk up on it in one night. Okay? If you can do it in one night, a whole lot of folk done it in one night. Because she ain't just started yesterday with it one night. She had them for a long time. Ain't no special in it. If it's a one night scene, it's been a long time since she's been a virgin. Okay? So you don't just start the one night rule in one night, you know what I'm saying? You started out with a 90-day rule. Then it got down to 45 days. Then it got down to a week. Then it got down to, okay, put some gas in the car. Okay, you good? We're trying to finish this chapter out, y'all. Moving kind of fast. Because it's really, it's straightforward stuff tonight, right? So let's just go and close the chapter out, 29 through 35. I can do it in 8 minutes. 29 through 35. Here's what it says. Who hath woe, who hath sorrow, who hath contentions, who hath babbling, who hath wounds without cause, who have redness of eyes? And so that's the question, right? Who's going through hell is what it's saying, right? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine, look not upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself all right, At the last it biteth like a serpent and stingeth like an adder. Let's just hold there for just a second right there. Okay? So he's saying, listen, he is giving us warnings against allowing addictions to take over your life.
Amen.
Right? And he's saying what? Come on in. Come on in. Huh? No, come on in. So you should have come in here to the first part. You missed the. So he's saying what? Because I'm putting it in a different way. His point is that, hey, listen, life is filled with pain. Life is filled with pain. But if you choose to dull your pain with alcohol or anything any narcotic, he says you will end up in more pain than you were. Okay? Because masking something does not take care of it. All right? That's why he said, at the last, it biteth like a serpent. It's because he's saying what? You will end up worse than you ever were. Okay? So how should you deal with pain?
Pray.
He said what? Pray? Oh, there you go. That's how you deal with pain. You get rid of the cause.
Smart love.
That's a smart one right there. You get rid of it's simple. You get rid of the cause of your pain. Now, I ain't got nothing against prayer, but what's the prayer and keeping the person right there in your life? Lord, help me, Jesus. Straighten them out, Lord. Straighten them out. Everybody got free will. They don't get straight. That's what he's saying. Now, so how you get rid of it? There are two ways to get rid of pain. All right? Two ways to get rid of pain. One is to what? Get rid of the source of your pain. The second is to understand what is the source of your pain. The source of most of our pain is us. You know why the source of most of your pain is you? Not just because you allow it, that's true, but because you hold it. See, if you hold the pain, you are the source of the pain because you won't let it go. Let's say for the sake of argument, is you out somewhere and you meet somebody and you think they're the beautiful person they could be. They love people. Y'all get together. Y'all date about 3 or 4 months. Let's say it's been 90 days, right? So get through the 90 days. And y'all dating everything. Everything going good, so on and so on. And he's a beautiful guy. He's introduced to your parents. You bring him to church. Introduce him to your pastor. All this stuff happens. And then the next Sunday, he comes in with another woman on his arms. Because his wife was out to sea. He was in the Navy. She was out to sea. And the shipment came back in. And then he brought her to church. And then, oh my God. Oh Lord. Right? And you mad. Because now every time, and then they join the choir. See, they on the choir singing. So every time you come to church, they on the choir singing. They having a good time, and you sitting there stewing. You mad, right? You just mad you can be. The thing is this: when did he date you? 6 months ago. When did you find out he had a wife? 60 days ago, and you still holding on to the pain.
Oh no.
See, what he did has been done in the past, but you keep thinking about it. See, you look at them and keep saying, can't believe he did me like that. Now he's sitting up in the choir, singing with that woman. I can't believe it. I ought to go and tell her what he did. See, you holding on to it. Same thing about the guy. If you date somebody or whatever, you married to somebody and they do something, run off with all your money and spend your money on some other guy and all this kind of stuff, now you may want to kill somebody. It's over with. See, what we want to hold on to it, and it's too late. It's gone now. Let it go. Don't drink it away, because if you drink it away, it's going to come right back. Matter of fact, it's going to get worse now. All right? So then he says this, all right? He says, thine eyes shall behold. I just talked about that, didn't I? I didn't. He said, because then he talks about then he talks about what will happen when you let the wine get the best of you. He says, then thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thine heart shall utter perverse things. Meaning what? That's when you become susceptible because you have been hurt. He's telling his son, right? Because you have been hurt, you become susceptible to seeking comfort in somebody else's arms. He said, well, I just told you up front what? She's a narrow pit. If your mind is clear, you will avoid it. But if your mind is not clear, you will mess around and get yourself in trouble. Okay? So he says, what? Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. He said, because when you get yourself in stuff like that, you will go back to the same old mess that tore you down, and then you'll make excuses for why it's okay to do it. All because when you're drinking, she will have messed up your money, lied on you, cheated on you, everything else, and you'll start back drinking, and then you'll be crying and saying, let me go back to my baby. I need her. All right? All right, 8 o'clock. Any questions? No questions? All right. Yes. Yes. Is it a good announcement?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Hurry up.
Oh, I said when we done, like when we like,
We done?
oh, we done?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.